Hey all, Zook here, back with part 20 of the all-boss damageless route through Scholar of the First Sin. This time we'll be taking on the 3 bosses that are located at the Throne of Want. For the Throne Duo, which should be the first boss, we will want to make sure that as we travel back to the King's Gate, we should have Dark Fog equipped. And then we also want to have poison arrows too. Now, if you want 2 casts of Dark Fog, because it takes up 2 spell slots, that is going to be all of your spells. But you can actually go to Strayed and buy another thing of Dark Fog if you want. You really don't need any other spells at this point. So if you just want the extra cast, if you try to use them for Throne Duo or for Aldia, then it might be worth going back to Straight and buying one of those. It's actually, at this point in the game, it's fairly cheap, as I can double check this actually as we do the run up, but I believe that it's like 7,500. Yeah, even less. It's 5,200 if you buy it from Straight. But as we enter into the Throne Duo fight, you're going to see me start off with 2 casts of Dark Fog. So I've got, right now, I have rings on to increase the casting speed. I don't need Lingering Dragon Crest for this one, just because having it linger longer actually doesn't really do anything as far as I can tell. So I just want quick casting, and then my physical damage should be high. So I do want Best Ring of Blades that I can have equipped, and I also want to have the Flint Ring. So I'm going to cast twice, and then as the Watcher gets poisoned, you're going to see the Watcher run to me. But as far as I can tell, the Watcher doesn't actually do an attack as long as you're strafing to the left. And then from here, I'm going to take out the bow. Well, I'm going to show you why you don't need Great Heavy Soul Arrow against the Watcher. But now I'm going to take out the bow. And I'll try to poison her again. Because at this point, after those 2 attacks, I now have to be worried about her buffing the weapon as she just did. And be careful of the combo that the defender had just done. He swipes once, twice, and then he can follow that up with a poke. If the sword goes like way back over his shoulder, then he's not going to follow it up with the poke. But yeah, that one was kind of sketchy. Try to keep your eye on the Watcher, and if you see her, just stop and stand still. If her weapon is buffed already, or I mean sometimes even if it's not buffed, at that point if she just stops and stands still, then chances are she's going to shoot one of the projectiles at you. But now from here, I'm going to cast Heavy Soul Arrow because magic does do the most damage to the defender. And you had seen me poison him with Dark Fog after the Watcher went down. By doing that, super easy. And I try not to take off the Hexer's hood. I'm going to charge up an arrow, and if it works right, then I get a free shot in to make sure she spawns the orbs as far away as possible. I'll eat an Amber Herb at this point, just because I'm going to want some Dark Fog casts. I mean, you can save it for after Nishandra's dead too if you want. But I will shoot her with some of these arrows. If she does this sideways one, walk right until the beam is coming pretty close to you, and then you'll roll left into it. Alright, perfect. I'm going to get 1 or 2 punishes in if she does the slam attack, and then I'm just going to roll away. If I do 2 punishes, then I'm kind of cognizant of whether or not she is winding up a swipe attack as she had done. 2 punishes, watch for a swipe, didn't get it. And if she does this hand motion with her left hand and she's not charging up a beam attack, then it means that she's spawning curse orbs. And so ideally you would have Nishandra backed into one of the corners, because you can actually get it so that she only spawns 1 curse orb. With her positioning where she was, I got her to spawn 2 rather than the 3 that she normally will, or sometimes even 4. And I don't finish her off while she's doing the beam attack. I wait until she's finished, because if you kill her while she's doing the beam attack, then her hand will go all over the place. So then Aldia is coming in. I make sure that Dark Fog is fully equipped. And he's got 4 attacks really. The worst attack is the one where he spawns a whole bunch of little fireballs above him, or the one where he pokes a branch into the ground. Now, he almost always starts off with the branch attack. Yeah. As you see, if he does his little fireballs, I always like to do the roll left, roll right, pause for a couple of seconds, for like a half second, and then roll left again. So again, this roll, roll, roll. Anytime that he has his flame aura down, then you're going to do actual damage, whereas if he has his flame aura up, then you're doing about a quarter damage. And this attack actually, where he charges up the giant fireball, is the best attack to punish. So you actually want as many of those giant fireballs as possible, especially because you actually can also run up to him and stab him while he's charging up the giant fireball, because his aura is down. After his teleport, you'll notice his aura is down, but I wouldn't run up and punish him at that point. And you'll see me mess this one up, I believe. Yep. As I just messed up the roll timing. It really is quite consistent if you do the roll, roll, roll. I'm sure that doing the running strategy to run to the right and then kind of cut back to avoid them also works, but it scares me to do that where you're just strafing it. So roll, roll, roll. And then you'll see I poisoned him with some dark fog. And what I really should be doing is trying to shoot him with arrows. Especially because poison arrows can still use the poison buildup from dark fog to activate. So when he's teleported, you really should be trying to get physical damage in. That's something that I kind of failed at on this one. And then in his phase 2 teleports, he tends to teleport where you're standing. Not all the time, and you'll actually see it happen at the very end of this video that he won't. But he does try to teleport to where you're standing, so just kind of be aware and make sure you have your stamina up. And I should have walked up to him and stabbed him about 4 times and then run away. And if he does this branch attack, then that single plunging branch into the ground, if you're in front of him, you'll notice I've done it a couple times throughout this fight, but if you're in front of him, then you want to just kind of run over to his left side, like over to his butt, or to the right side to his head. But anyway, just kind of run over to basically his 3 o'clock or his 9 o'clock. You should be safe at that point. And with that, Aldi is down, and that is all 3 final bosses base game. So if you've made it this far, then congratulations. You should have just earned yourself an illusory ring of the Conqueror. Now, in the next videos, we'll be moving on to the DLC bosses. As I've mentioned before, I'm not really the gameplay expert, and it's going to start to show a lot more as we look at the DLC bosses. So while I would be ecstatic if you kept watching this series, and I would recommend doing it if you need routes to get through the areas, I would also very much encourage you at this point to watch some of the videos that have also been put out by other people in the community, especially Lone Wind with his no-hit guides that he made before Hobbs Run, or looking at Otsdarva's all boss stuff, or checking out some stuff by Papa Finn or some of the other great runners that are doing Dark Souls 2. Pretty much everything but the Alana fight and Dark Lurker can be done the exact same way as all of these other runners do it in the normal no-hits. But yeah, we'll talk about all of that in the upcoming videos. That all being said, the next video that I'm going to be putting out here is going to show my no damage fight against Fume Knight, and also a route that works pretty well against the blue Smelter Demon. So hopefully I will catch you in the next one.